Okay, this hearing will be held in open session in accordance with chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, and business is conducted by the board will be done solely in open session. Just for the record, we do have 5 members present for a quorum, and this is the public hearing on the appraisal plan for this coming year. Do we have any citizens that would like to comment on that? Well, maybe we ought to let you go first now.
No, so you're right.
No, right.
Yeah.
So anybody, any citizens like to make a comment about the appraisal plan, upcoming appraisal plans? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 2 for the hearing. And that's the presentation of the appraisal district proposed 27-28 appraisal plan.
So this is required by the district to do every 2 years. We map out what we do, what we're gonna look at. All of our managers here within the office get together, we come up with ideas, see what things we really need to focus on and look at. Tanner does put a lot of time into this report, so there's a lot in there. But he's just gonna go over kind of the high points, what we've changed, what we're really gonna focus on. And if y'all got any questions, please let us.
I'm gonna hit the highlights because I don't think you want me to read a 65-page document to you. So just to get a few things out of the way, this is our proposed reappraisal plan for 2027 and 2028 tax years. This plan is meant to give the public a better understanding of what we're trying to accomplish each year. It has several parts that we're going to touch on. But just to reiterate, the appraisal district is responsible for local property tax appraisals, exemption administration, and special valuations of properties for the taxing units that we appraise for. On page 3, you will see a list of all of the taxing units that we do appraise for. This reappraisal plan, as proposed and when approved, will satisfy the Texas Property Tax Code requirements, specifically section 6.05. That code is listed for you on page 4. The next couple pages will lay out a number of administrative details about the district. It lays out on page 6, our organizational chart. On the following page, our staff listing, titles and responsibilities, our education and training plan, what information systems we use, what software, what vendors we use. On page 9, there is a breakdown of our facilities here at the appraisal district. And then it talks about our budget, and there is a tax calendar that describes kind of the major highlights of our year. On page 14 and under appraisal activities, we do have 3 reappraisal areas. And we cycle through those, and that way we do a full comprehensive reappraisal of the county every 3 years. These reappraisal areas are, where's the word I'm looking for? They typically follow the emergency service district boundaries and the city limits. So reappraisal area 1, you'll see has ESC 6 and 7, and then the New Braunfels, Schertz, Garden Ridge, and Selma city limits. Each one of these reappraisal, every property falls within one of these reappraisal areas. The only difference is how 2 our reappraisal areas, other than these boundaries, is our commercial properties. For this plan, we're proposing something new. We want to sort our commercial properties by use rather than location into 3 reappraisal areas. Reappraisal area 1, which is the city of New Braunfels, carries a lot of our commercial properties. And so when we are in that reappraisal area, it is a pretty tall task with the amount of volume of properties that we're looking at. By separating these commercial properties by use, we'll be able to do a better job at focusing on each of those uses across the county every 3 years. On page 16 is a nice black and white draw map of our reappraisal areas. On the following page is an Excel spreadsheet of our reappraisal areas of which uses will break down into those reappraisal areas.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you look at the three appraisal areas, it's easy, the way I always remember it, it's the Canyon Lake area, the city of New Braunfels, Bulverde Spring Branch. That's how those reappraisal areas are broken up. Sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you. We have a section on, our planning and organization of our reappraisal plan. Action plans, disaster plans, periodic reappraisals, pilot studies, how we manage our data, what data sources we use to build our appraisals, how we collect and verify that data, our quality control, and then how we organize different types of property. On page 23, into 24 and 26, we do have a breakdown of our three approaches to value. Through sales, through cost, and through income. On page 26, we break down our collection and sales analysis of sold properties. We define our market areas and detail the ratio studies that we conduct each year. On page 31, the plan details our administrative activities, our mass appraisal report, preparation of the appraisal roll each year, our appeals process, which is our protest season, and then lastly, our final performance analysis, which is our school district property value study. The next couple pages are going to detail our department plans for our commercial, our personal property, residential, land and ag, and commercial, residential plans. In these plans, we do detail goals that we would like to achieve in 2027 and in 2028 within the reappraisal areas. For 2027, we will be in reappraisal area 2. And so that will be the Bulverde area. In 2028, we'll be in the Canyon Lake area and reappraisal area 3. Each of those plans comes with a calendar that hits the highlights of what the appraisers are doing during those times, what the team leaders are doing, and then what the director of operations is doing. The report ends with a list of all the residential neighborhoods that we have in the county, and then following that is a list of all of our commercial neighborhoods. To tie up the report, we do have the reappraisal plan from Pritchard and Abbott, who is our third-party appraisal firm that handles our industrial properties. I'm open to answering any questions or go into more detail for anything that the board would like.
Questions from the board?
What's your biggest material change from 25-26 to 7-28?
Probably how we are reclassifying our reappraisal areas for commercial properties. I roughly guess probably 90% of our commercial properties exist in reappraisal area 1. And so when we go through that year, it's really tough. And so now we're going to get to better focus on these uses. And so 1 year we're going to look at apartments super close. It also fits really well with our cost schedules that we get from Marshall and Swift. They update certain property uses every 2 years. So we're going to be able to keep up with that, which we update each year, but we'll be able to incorporate that a lot more into our reappraisal plan.
Do you have an idea of that commercial reappraisal areas? How many of them there are going to be? Because, the list of kinds of commercial properties is long.
Majority of them are gonna be in the city of New Braunfels.
I'm sorry?
Majority of them are gonna be in the
I
city.
do understand that, but you said you're gonna divide them out, so you don't have to look at all of them. I mean, how many, you have 3 right now that you do essentially say from properties, but with the commercial properties, how many appraisal districts, real, that you would create to break up the commercial property.
Yeah. So I know the print is pretty small, but if you look at page 17. There's a column, it's the second to the right, it's titled RA. That's gonna be the reappraisal area that property use is gonna fall in. And to the right of that, that last column is the number of accounts in that property use. And so we've gone through and separated these, and so there's an equal number of accounts and property uses within each reappraisal plan.
It's just kind of an administrative thing. I don't know if it's really part of the appraisal plan. On the business personal property exception thing, are we gonna? Because I don't think it's included right now. The exception is not included on the, your report that you put, the certified value report. Or did I miss something?
No, the exemption is on there. I don't know if it's reporting the amount lost.
It reports the taxable value amount on the exemption breakdown for each entity. It starts with, I think it's 14, and they're at the very top, and there's about 4 or 5 different versions of that exemption that can apply to business personal property. I would have to look at the exact exemption code that it goes under, but they are in the exemption breakdown on the totals reports. It's just
Yeah, because we report everything else in terms of the exemptions on that report, and everybody know how much is being taken out or whatever.
Yeah. And it also doesn't break it down by the actual levy loss, it only breaks it down by the reduction and I believe taxable value or market value, but it is reported on there.
Yeah, all they really need is a value of what it knocks it down to. They can figure out what they're gonna collect based on that. Okay. Anybody else got anything else?
I just have one comment. I know this is a reappraisal plan and we're saying just to be clear, we're saying for 27 and 28, we're looking at these specific areas and we're gonna focus on those. That doesn't mean we ignore everything else. It's kind of redundant because every year we look at every property, we do sales analysis. But these are ones we're really gonna focus on top of doing all the additional appraisals that we do each year. So.
Anything else? All right, in that case, I'm gonna move to adjourn the hearing, public hearing on the appraisal plan. And I'll entertain a motion to do that, please. I'll make a motion. Yeah, a motion by Mr. Stewart. And I'm second. All right, Sean, and all in favor indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay. All right, I'm gonna call the regular meeting of the appraisal duty order at 5:54, it looks like. This meeting is being held in open session in accordance with chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. And business as conducted by the board will be done so in open session. Each regular session will be open with a prayer and pledges to the flags. All persons in attendance are welcome and free to participate or not at their personal discretion. So if you'll join me with the pledge to the US flag. Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will protect this flag.
Pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Lord, thank you for being a God who is always generous and loving. We pray for the peace of mind and heart for each person in this meeting. May we trust in your plans and have faith that you are working all things together for good. Amen.
Thank you.
All right. Let's move to agenda item number 1, citizens communications. Do we have any citizens that would like to address the board at this point? Okay, saying none, we'll move to agenda item number 2. Tax code section 6.15 communication. This is a chance for board members to bring up anything they think is of interest to the board. Anybody have anything they'd like to discuss? Okay, saying none, moving on. Agenda item number 3, presentation of service award. And we have Teresa Winsler, who is 5 years with us.
It's Tercea.
I'm sorry?
Tercea.
Tercea.
It's Tercea.
Tercea.
Oh, Tercea, thank you.
Yes,
Okay.
that would be me. It's okay, I've been called Teresa my whole life, but that's my mom's name, not my name.
Pretty nice.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Yeah, okay, well, congratulations. Here's a 5-year service pin. Thank you so much for everything you do for the district. It's truly appreciated. And then I'm gonna ask you the, oh, you want to do the picture?
I'll do a picture and then you can ask the question. Thank you, very nice. Okay, now you can ask.
So, famous question.
Okay,
What was the best thing that's happened to you since you've worked here?
it was 3 months after I was hired and I was moved from residential to commercial, which is highly unheard of whenever you work at an appraisal district, and I made that accomplishment.
Oh, good.
And I've been in commercial since.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, that's always a little more challenging, I think, than some of the residential stuff. And a particularly moment that you did not care for.
The worst day.
It's been some bad days. It's usually whenever taxpayers are highly frustrated with you, but as you move on, you kind of learn to, you take the emotion away, you know that you're just here for a purpose.
There you go.
So,
Well, again, thanks you very much for your service. I just appreciate
I
it.
appreciate it.
Congratulations.
All right, agenda item number 4, recognition of outgoing ARB members. And what do we have there?
Did you want to have?
What?
You want to say anything?
None of them are in attendance. I think it'd be great to say on record, but we do have their plaques and we'll make sure that the board, that we get those mailed to those members, but if you want to say their names for on record.
Sure.
That'd be
I
great.
was gonna say. Okay, so we're, a number of, appraisal review board members leaving, Paul Simon, Christy Spradley, Brenda Davis, and Hector Rios. And we'd like to say, for the record, thank them for their service. It can be a difficult job at times, but I think it's a rewarding job. So I do appreciate what they've given to the district. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 5, approval of the minutes from July 7th. Okay, does everybody have a chance to look at those? Anybody have any corrections or modifications they would like to make? I'll give you a second to look it over. Yeah.
They are updated minutes, thanks to Mr. Alvarez. 13 and 14 were updated. We changed 13 to just say approve, not approve or disapprove. And then we updated the motion and the vote added to 14.
You all have the corrected.
The corrected ones are in your,
We have it.
you have the corrected.
Okay.
Yes.
Voting on the corrected copy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that case, if there are no comments, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the minutes July 7th.
Motion by Mr. Brown, and a second. Mr. O'Neill seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, item number 7, or number 6, I'm sorry, we're talking about going to executive session to talk about ARB members. I'm gonna take no action on that because we don't have 2 elected officials present, so we can't appoint voting members even if we would want to. So we'll pick that up probably next
I
time.
need to make a motion of no action on that.
No, I don't think so. I checked with the.
Yeah, you don't have to,
Because we don't have the elected, the required.
well, right, just if there's no action that's taken, if nobody makes a motion, then there is no action, so you should only make a motion if you wanna do something different, so.
Satisfied with the answer. Thanks.
Going on to agenda item number 7. Okay, we're not gonna do that, but take no action on number 7. Number 8, presentation by the ARB chairman of the 2026 test season. Yeah, what you got for us?
Good evening.
I think we have a piece of data in your packet that shows the protest. A little over 35,000 protests were filed this year, as you can see. The most important number of that is clear over on the right, the total remaining, the 2,871. As of this morning, that included some that were already resolved with some agents, either through settlements or top lines that had not been updated in the system. It also includes the protest that we will have on the docket tomorrow and Friday, and also on Thursday and Friday next week. So by the close of business Friday next week, September the 4th, that number should approach 0. That would be good. We will basically have wrapped up, and in my 6 years here, that is the earliest we've ever achieved that. So congratulations to my ARB members, to Mr. Jones with scheduling, and all of the ARB people who worked very diligently getting us to that point. Great job
Absolutely.
all the way around.
It's a big kudos to the staff for working with property owners and agents and getting through all that. You look at the minutes from last time, we've settled out a large amount.
So we managed to even work our way through the tax advisory companies.
Yes.
With almost, what, 6,000 more protests? We're finishing 2 months earlier than we did last year.
That's great. It's probably on here, it's how the individual ARB meetings that. Ballpark.
So it's
I
gonna be about,
the number by next Friday, that number will be 82.
okay, based on these stats, ARBs that have been completed, heard by the ARB is 1,500.
Okay.
I think he was asking for the number of days we met.
Well, I was gonna take maybe individual meetings, like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you. do
Oh,
multiple in a
with-
day,
Oh,
with
okay,
with a process.
So then
Okay.
1,500.
yeah,
That's a good step.
yeah. And I think Mr. Jones may allude to this later, but with all of that, we have surpassed that 95%.
I will, yeah.
Somebody will. Any questions, comments?
That's great, thank you so much.
Thank you, John.
And Tanner gave a great compliment, and the staff did work super hard, but the ARB worked hard as well. They're here all summer, taking up their time.
Yeah.
It was
It takes cooperation of everyone to get this done.
Yeah. absolutely.
I mean, there's no two ways around it. If the two sides are at each other's throats, things don't usually go very well. My compliments to all involved in that process. All right. Taxpayer Liaison Officer, what you got for us?
All right.
We're charged, please. So
Um,
we're working on getting that.
I'm trying, the network link was lost from. Do you have a copy? I
I'll tell you
know
what,
they all
I've
have
got a copy,
copy.
you've got a copy in your book, so we're gonna talk about it since we might be a little bit challenged by for the PowerPoint. Okay, so formal complaints received by the TLO, there was one, and I'll talk about it in a moment because I have to follow one chart. Limited binding arbitration procedures, none, we received no LBAs this last period. We did get a request for a community outreach event, which is an ag wildlife. Some people say ag exemption. We know that it's not an exemption, it's a special valuation. But we got a request to do one of those. I have a chart on that as well. That's not one that we've done in the past because our workshops have been more tax and property tax specific related. End of year projection for the ARB, we project we'll have 14. You know, we have 19 slots now. I've got another chart on that as well. The one complaint that we got from Mr. Abel did cause us to look back at our procedure. It seemed a little bit clunky and didn't really match well with Texas property law. We looked at all the other pads throughout the state and taking some lessons from those. We smoothed out our process, made it more user friendly, and then got the okay from the legal office to make sure that we were in step with the Texas law.
Kurt, you got it up there.
All right, the bottom left-hand one, you've already heard from John, but I would say that the additional things that helped us out were, in addition to what we discussed, was an additional hearing room, in a larger ARB staff. Next, okay, so again, 19 total positions currently on hand because we had 3 lockers, Paul Simon, Brenda Davis, and Hector Rios, I briefed those to you in the past. That brings us down, and with losing an additional 2, John Cox and Rick Tobias, who are aging off because they've had their total of 6 years. Will depart at the end of 2026. That'll leave us selecting 5 people in January. Again, the reason we're not doing it now is because the way the rules work, if we select somebody for the ARB now, even if they only sit one hearing, they burn a year of eligibility, so we don't want to do that, and we got plenty of people to do the job right now. We're continuing to collect applications. We've really stepped up our recruitment, and I've gone out to my network and received several applications based on that. As we get closer to the January date, we'll probably continue to step it up. A lot of times when they reach out and they say, hey, we're looking for people in January to do the ARB, they say, January, that's almost 6 months away. I don't know what I'm doing next month, even, 6 months away. So well, I expect it will get a little bit better. We'll get more applications as we move forward. But you all have networks too, so please keep an eye on. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and skip this one. I would point out that when you get a chance in your book, look at the difference between full and auxiliary members. There's only really a couple of differences between what they can do. Okay, next. Okay, so feedback, ARB related, there were only 28 surveys that were received since the last time I spoke with you, which is July 7th. And the vast majority of them were very positive, courteous, attentive, knowledgeable, organized, fair, all rated excellent in those areas. The surveys are anonymous, so we really don't have any way of following up on them. But these are kind of the comments there. I won't read through them, but they're all very positive. The last 2 I kept, and I kind of counted these negative, but the last one you could go either way. Second to last one, that person felt that he was rushed. He felt the board made a decision before he completed the presentation. He didn't feel like they clarified why they came up with this value, but that was one out of all the others. The last one is actually goes both ways. Is I had difficulty hearing with my hearing aids, but then the board accommodated me by moving me forward in the room. So I thought that could go positive or negative. Next one, okay. So this is a name you might remember from last time I spoke with you. This is the guy who wrote to the PTAB over in the comptroller's office saying that there's nothing in the Constitution saying that you can tax me for my property. I don't know how they responded to him because he didn't keep us in the loop. I just happened to see a copy of the paperwork that he included. And so I thought we had answered all of his questions, and so that's why I presented him last month. But then he contacted us again, kind of resurrected himself. He's still upset about his ARB hearing and his market value. He got his board order determination, and we said, hey, there's procedures in there for if you don't like your ARB decision, but they all cost money. And he told me, frankly, I don't want to pay the money for arbitration. I don't want to take the risk on losing my, all the court fees. But I'd still like to follow up on this. So he's basically ignoring all the remedies that the law offers him. He demanded who the chief appraiser reports to, but he wants to know who can affect change in the appraisal process. He wants things like major changes, like after the end of the ARB, when they give you the market value, he wants to be able to debate it right there on the spot. There's no way, there's no place in the process for that. And there's other things that he was upset about. So in order to affect change in the appraisal process, Jeffrey wrote him and said, well, the people who can affect the process are the PTAB, which is part of the comptroller's office, and your elected officials. So he's got all that contact information, and I wish him well in trying to get those guys to change the process for him. All right, so Mr. Dan Karajankovic. He got a contact by Jen Crownover, who was the commissioner for, I think it's District 4. And she said, I just had a 45-minute discussion with Mr. Karajankovic about his being upset with his with the appraisal that he got. And so we did some research, talked to the people here who we had visited with, and found out that he no-showed 2 separate hearings. He no-showed one, then he begged to get rescheduled again, and he no-showed the second one. Verified that all the notices were going to the right location. When asked, why won't you talk to our appraisers? He said, well, I went in, I talked to an appraiser, and I didn't get the answer I was looking for. I wasn't satisfied with her qualifications. And then they stepped him up to the residential appraiser manager, and he didn't like what he was saying. And then he apparently said, well, I'd like to speak to a man. So, the cab was actually, very accommodating and had an appraiser manager who was a man talk to him, and he didn't like his answer either. So he's not satisfied with how his market value is been come up with. But he didn't go to the hearing and so that would have been his opportunity to indicate that. He referred to documents, both to Jane Crownover and myself, that indicated general lowering of property values throughout the state. I mean, and so why didn't mine go down? And that's his rationale, and obviously, just because there's a general lowering of gentle, not major, but general lowering of market values throughout the state does not mean that New Braunfels or that his specific house went down. And he does not want to accept that. So, all right, I guess that's it for that. And so, Mr. Abel, our official complaint, he really wrote me the note saying this is an official complaint, so we treat it as that formal complaint. It was based on the conduct of his hearing and the exchanges between him and the CAB representative or appraiser who was in the room. So, it was my responsibility to look into this. I researched his comments, I interviewed, and I informed the board chair, interviewed the leadership. I interviewed all the people that were in the room at the time, talked at length to the person who was, who complained, Mr. Abel. And he kept saying, if you just listen to the tape, which you probably know this, all the sessions are taped. If you just listen to the tape, it'll be obvious what the problem was. So I got a copy of the tape, shared it with the board chair, shared it with all the leadership. Everybody listened to it. Nobody could come up with anything that sounded awfully untoward. So wrote back to him 3 different times, once a week, 1 week, nothing, heard nothing, another week, another week. The only thing he said back was, I don't trust anybody who gets a government paycheck. And then he just disappeared. So after about 3 weeks of not hearing anything out of our queries, could you please tell us what it was that particularly that really bothered you? And he wouldn't respond back. Spoke with our law advisor, Mr. Tepper, and he said, it's time we go ahead and close this. So he really seemed irritated somehow by the session, but would not tell us what it was.
Yeah, I listened to the tape, but trust me, it was not obvious what he was concerned about.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and consider that closed. This is a copy of the flyer that went out for the Four Corners Realtors. That's probably the biggest realtor organization in the county. But it was originally asked for by All City Real Estate, which is in San Antonio. Apparently, they have a lot of properties up here, and a lot of people have properties where they have a ag valuation in place, and then they ask the realtors, well, how do I keep it? Or when I buy this property, how do I make sure that it doesn't drop off? Things like that. And they said, we have no idea how to respond to that stuff. Would you guys consider talking to us? So we're putting together a presentation to be delivered on this date. If anybody wants to hear more about ag or wildlife valuations, feel free to drop in. But this is going to be at the Four Rivers headquarters, which is on the edge of Green.
This is a good idea. This is a good idea.
All right, ARB member recognition, Michael Perry, we have 2 pages here on Michael. Came to us from the United States Navy for 32 years and commanded 2 ships and an amphibious squadron. Deployed 8 times through the Gulf and the Western Pacific and served multiple tours in DC. Retired as a Navy captain. He is involved in his community, coaching boys basketball at Catholic School of Virginia and active in the Catholic Church throughout his career. Next chart. There's his degree in oceanography from the academy. What's this beat army crowd? The operations research degree from Naval Postgrad, security strategic studies from Naval Postgrad or Naval Command Staff College, and a national resource strategy from the ICANN, the Industrial College of Armed Forces. He's married with 2 children, including a daughter who recently graduated from Smith Valley, and now she's a freshman at Florida Atlantic University. His son is a nurse at Fairfax, Virginia. He enjoys running and traveling. Mark, would you like to say anything?
That's okay, appreciate it, appreciate working with y'all. Oh, thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on board. Appreciate it.
And incidentally, he told me that all that stuff you're hearing about the sailors who are on board that the aircraft carrier, his heart does not go out to them.
And it.
Yes, sir.
All right. Chief Appraisers Report, 90%, John.
Yeah, so we kind of already touched on it a little bit, certification of the appraisal roll, we did certify, sent all that to all the entities. Didn't really, we had a couple questions, I think, but nothing earth shattering, we were able to take care of everything. By the end of this week, we should be over 95%. We were not when we certified, we were around 83. But we were able to figure out a way to get those outstanding accounts taken care of. I do think it's positive. I want to reiterate this, between the ARB and the staff, we were able to move that up 2 months from what we did last year. So I think it's a very positive trend.
Just as kind of an after action review item for the season, if you will. Do we see anything that can help us get higher than that? It's been 83% now for the last couple of years, if I remember correctly, or right around that number. Is there anything that pops out that might help us get that to be a higher number? Now, I'm not, obviously I'd like to be at 95, but the truth of the matter is, with the way we've grown, that's probably not gonna happen a lot anymore.
So there is, and Tanner and I've talked about it, we have some ideas. There's a couple agents that hold a lot of accounts that show a lot of conflict where we can't take care of those protests. So we have to reschedule them, and it pushes them off.
And that's what's the main holdup on it.
Yeah,
I assume you're trying to schedule the high dollar value.
correct.
properties.
All that we're trying to schedule first, and this year we took care of all the property owners first, while focusing on the agents. So what's left right now is agents. Property owners are taken care
And
of.
how about Pritchard and Abbott? Do they have time?
They're always done ahead in time. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
With Pritchard and Abbott, they really only take to the board, what, like 3? They do everything informally, basically, and only take a few to the board. So
And I don't really realize how big a hunk of the property value they really look at. Is it a large portion of the overall county, or?
it's a large portion. But when you look at the big scheme of things, they cover 1,200 accounts.
Yeah.
And we had 35,000 protests. So
No, I understand.
all those other ones add up to more than what P&A.
It was kind of a experimental year with that additional board. So now we kind of know our limits with that, so we can, push closer to that limit. One thing that was a big help this year is that we were fully staffed. With appraisers that could do informal. So that was a nice addition to this year. And so hopefully that continues and those appraisers have another year of experience under their belt.
Okay.
How much have those changed over the years? I mean, I just ran the numbers earlier, but so it's like 67% of these folks are being represented by these agencies now. How much has that trended up? I mean, that's a really high number.
Drastically. So
Well, when I first started this.
agents have gone up and our owner protests have gone down because they have individuals representing them.
We actually just tracked
So
that.
Michelle took it upon herself to look at our data over the last 5 years to look at this exact point. So give us just a second, she's gonna grab that, but it is a substantial difference in the amount of, I think we were about 50-50 with our owners in 21, 22, and then since then, that's when the increase in the protest has occurred. You see a shift of property owners hiring a tax consultant to hear their case.
Is the settlement process with those entities more difficult than just dealing with a?
No, we give an agent, we give the owner the same information, we present the same thing. It just depends on the opinion of value and where we go from there.
The challenging thing is the volume for some of these, but
Bigger companies like O'Connor and Ownwell have really gone to work on their imaginative and aggressive advertising and marketing. It's really crazy. You can't, like I've seen billboards, Facebook, just about, on TV, everywhere you turn, you see, when you're in the protest season, you see it everywhere. And also when we were giving, when we were going around doing our tax protests, somebody raised their hand and they said, Olwell says they beat you, it doesn't matter if it's Olwell or Cobb, whoever it was, they say they beat the cat 80% of the time. And I thought that was a real interesting thing, so looking into that, found out that every time they come in and sit and do an informal, if they get like a little teeny weeny, improvement, like a 5% or some real minor improvement, they chalk it up as a win. And then they go back to their folks and say, yeah, I sat down and went over 100 accounts and got, I don't know, 60 of them decreased, so that's, that's 60% it wins. I mean, that's the kind of thing that they're saying.
How's the scheduling going with those guys? That used to always be an issue. Trying to get them even in the door.
It's not too bad. I think one agent is probably the most difficult.
It's still sort of an issue, but it is getting better. That's one of the ideas Jeffrey and I talked about improving next year is focusing on them, getting them in here. There are some tools at our disposal to get them in here almost full time. So we're gonna implement those. We're competing with other districts when scheduling agents. So whoever, we'll just use Zonewell for example. If I schedule them for the 15th and I mail my notice on the 1st, but they have another appraisal district scheduled them for the same day, but sent it on the 30th of the prior month, they went out and I have to.
We have to reschedule them.
If that is the case, if there's a conflict, we're beat out, they get a reschedule every single time. So.
Yeah, because I remember that being a relatively big issue. I mean, trying to get the agent in to even talk about something got to be difficult. I mean,
I would say the majority of the agents that we work with, they want to finish just as much as we want to. And so they reach out early, provide evidence. We're working through spreadsheets and working those accounts out before they come to the ARB. So,
and I think that's been a good improvement is the relationship the district has with these agents. That's what's helped us move this time frame forward, and we're just going to try to keep improving on that. So,
in 2022, protests were filed by owner and agent about 50-50. It's 50%. Now in 2020, it obviously went up each year, and now in 2026, 81.4% of the protests are filed by agent and 18.6% by the.
yeah, it's changed a lot. I don't know the statistics for sure, but it seems like when I first started doing the ARB, it was probably 75-80% actual property owner and 20-25% agents coming in. And a lot of that even was with commercial property more so than residential property, but.
Are those agencies required to physically come in?
they can come in person, appear by affidavit. They can appear by phone with an affidavit, or by Zoom by an
They
affidavit.
get the same rules as.
Yeah.
Okay, what else you got for us there, Jeffrey?
So, in your packet, you have all the comment cards from the last board meeting. I want to point out a couple things. One is they're all rated very good except for one. Miss Tracy did get a bad review. I wasn't able to get a hold of the property owner, but I did talk to Tracy about it, and it sounds like the property owner had a lot of accounts and she just got very frustrated with handling and dealing with her properties at the counter. So I don't have a good answer because I haven't been able to talk to the property owner on that one yet. The other thing I want to point, kind of a rare thing, and Mr. Suffolk brought this up, Mr. Suffolk, you did when we were on the phone the other day. We have two comments in here towards the back. One is actually addressed to Mr. Schleppert, but they're from property tax agents, complimenting the board. Kyle Cade from Lono filled out one of our surveys, and then we had an agent send a personal letter to Mr. Schleppert, praising a few of our appraisers and how good the staff is doing. So I think that's a great compliment. In the packet, I know Tracy did get one bad review, but she does have other reviews that are all rated very good. So It's hard to really assess that situation when I'm not able to talk to that property owner, so.
Okay.
Y'all have any questions? No. Okay. So we'll get to this here shortly, but I do have to notify you that everybody that applied to run for the election, they are all running unopposed. So, as the authority responsible for having the official ballot prepared, I hereby certify that the following candidates are unopposed for the election to office for the election scheduled to be held on November 3rd, 2026. Place number 1 is Rob Johnson. Place number 2 is Mr. Craig O'Neill. And place number 3 is Mr. Garrison Mount. I have signed this sheet, so in our later agenda item, I've already notified y'all that they're all unopposed and we can cancel the election.
Excellent. So that just saved us what, about 60K?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, very good. Okay. So-
And last thing I have is just our next meeting on October the 6th. And I know we took no action on a couple of items for the ARB. Well, we're going to roll that to October the 6th.
The other thing I want us to think about is January. With ARB members, 5 of them. That's gonna be quite the deal. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't have just a separate meeting. To do that, so we're not here till 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it would make an extra meeting, but on the other hand. We could work our way through however many people we have applying. I mean, it's gonna be at least 5, I guess.
We've done them before. You want us to send out dates and kind of do a survey and see what an additional
Yeah,
meeting would look like?
yeah, take a look at what the
Yeah.
calendar looks
Okay.
at, and but I just want to get ahead of that, so we're not.
Sure.
Messing around at the last minute.
Yep.
Because I used to hate those meetings where the board would wait to the end of the meeting to start talking about picking ARB guys and. Doing interviews and, you know, next thing you know, it's 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Fine with having something here.
Yeah, I mean,
Just get all the interviews done, make the selection, move on.
and move on, right, and not have to mess with anything else with that particular.
Sure.
That particular meeting. Okay, so take a look at that and then let's see how we can make that fully turn out.
As of now, though, everybody's still good with October the 6th? Yeah.
I would probably not be my 25th wedding anniversary.
Flash or something. Yeah, right. If you're here for that one, you may not be here for.
All right, let's move on to item number 11, which is the financial report. Mr. Dow, sir, what do you got for us?
All right, I don't think it's gonna be.
Calm down.
I don't think it's gonna be very exciting, but to start out, it looks like all the entities are paid up for the 3 quarters that they've had invoices for contributing towards our budget. It's on page 1. Majority of them are 75%. A few of them have paid up fully throughout the end of the year. Honestly, on most of the line items in all of this, everything looks really good. There's a couple of things that I'll point out that they don't particularly look bad, but just I want to highlight. On page 2 of the profit and loss budget report. Our education is showing that we're at about 67.28% spent. I do know that we are getting closer to that full amount that is being spent towards the end of the year, but we schedule education going out to the end of the year. So we don't really anticipate that really being an issue, but I wanted to bring it up. You'll probably see a much different number at the October meeting if we do a financial summary there. On page 3, obviously, you were presented the about certifying the unopposed candidates for the election. So in the election section, obviously we've spent $60,000, as you pointed out in the previous agenda item. So that will remain 0 and will not be spent, obviously. So that gives a little bit of cushion in there. I've gone over this before, but I'll just say it again. Audit services is at 87.5%, but we pay for those at the beginning of the year. Appraisal services and all the other line items seem on track to be exactly where we need them to be. We usually pay those in either quarterly payments or something like that throughout the year. So that should track to be on schedule to be within our budget. In the contract services on page 4, the salary survey was $8,000 that obviously the board we approved, but we had not budgeted for in May of last year for the 2026 year. But I do not foresee that being any type of issue as far as the overall line for contract services. The other thing that I would like to point out is on appraisal review board. So we're wrapping up the protest season coming to the end of the year, and we'll obviously have some hearings between now and the end of the year and everything, but we're only at 58% of our budget for the appraisal review board, which is really good. I mean, there's going to be a lot, it looks like there's going to be a lot left over in that section. So.
What's the overage on the ARB miscellaneous expenses? It's 8920.
Yeah, so that the ARB miscellaneous expenses are going to include things like anything from supplies that could be ARB procedures that we print out that we're required to give out to taxpayers. We also outfitted the ARB rooms over here when we expanded it, so we had to buy room dividers, TVs, things to actually outfit those into a split ARB room, which was a larger than normal expense that I don't remember if we really had listed when we were doing our original budget, but I feel like we did it pretty frugally. But yeah, those things were like the room dividers, TVs, cameras, and audio recording equipment, things like that we had to put in there. That's the main reason why it went over.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing, I'm just curious
Sure.
if it was like the increased protests and therefore you have increased printing costs, or if it was just the one-time expense of adding the extra room, like.
It's really gonna be the one-time expense of outfitting that room. I mean, obviously, we will have additional expenses as protests increase and just
Right.
general supplies increases, but it's not gonna be enough to push it over that far.
Okay, yeah, I mean, for future purposes,
Sure.
kind of thinking through.
Yeah.
While we're over.
I have a question, and I apologize if you were saying it while I was writing another note, writing a note about the election. So the item right below that, the legal services side of it, yeah, $600,000 budget, and only spent 43.
On the contract services,
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that because of timing of something, like one legal bill hits exactly at one time, or?
so
Like just in case, right?
well, so the thing about this is that our legal services, I believe we've received invoices through April for that. So the average cost is about $10,000 on the legal services per month. So we do have a few invoices that are out. Now, obviously, if we project that out, it's still only gonna be $120,000. But the reason why we put I'm assuming your question is why did we put so much money in there when?
Oh, I'm just questioning, yeah, this 7% spend on.
Yeah.
On a year, on a big number.
It just depends on when timing, if there's any trials, if there's any expert witnesses that are hired. That number can hit basically any time during the year. It's not exactly like, oh, we're just gonna pay a quarterly payment of $150,000 and it's just gonna equal out to 600. It really depends on things that get settled, things
I would
that.
assume, so that budget number is probably built upon historical data, right?
That's
it.
My question is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are you seeing significant trending down in that category, or do you still think it's going to ramp up?
They
Yes.
can probably answer that better, but
That's the
but
attorneys.
no, that's okay.
No.
So we've actually seen a trend downward from the past years. At one time, we budgeted $680,000. We've just been hesitant about cutting it to the bone.
So to answer your question, yes and no. The last 2 years, we've been, having our feet on fire, running, trying to get lawsuits settled because we were up to almost 200 lawsuits. And we've cut that by 3/4 now. So our bills were higher in the past, and they have trended down. I don't want to say we over budget, but we do put cushion within that line item. Like Ryan said, if we got to go to court, if we need an expert witness, so there is some cushion in there as well.
One bad lawsuit can make this.
No, I get it.
Skyrocket.
I get it. And I get how they don't invoice very.
But historically, we have seen.
For years. I'll tell you, if there is one aspect of the operation of our law that I've spent more time on that hasn't actually improved that much. It has been getting the bills out in a more timely fashion.
It's the only industry I know of that doesn't want their money right away, to be honest with you.
Because they know how to get it.
I know where you live.
Yeah, they know how to get it.
Is there any other questions on the profit and loss statement? All right, so moving on to the investment summary, it's pretty basic. We've got. Well, obviously, this report's done through the end of July, so the treasury bill that we had on there was set to mature on August 15th, which it did. But not as of the date of the ending of this report. As far as our money market account, we received just under $3,000. And the current market value or value at maturity of it is 1.4, a little over 1.4 million. That is not actually the realized value of it. If you switch to the next page, it'll actually show as of July 31st, the actual values of our different funds that we have in there, so. And then the next page is a balance sheet for reference. Any questions regarding the investment summary?
All right, thank you, sure. All right, item number 12 is a discussion of possible action to approve cancellation of the general election. I think I've got something that I need to be here, so I may have just a minute. Okay, this is the cancellation order, which will end up, I guess my question is, do we need to vote on this? Yeah, we're gonna have to have a motion on a vote.
It's by the governing body.
So here's what it says, order of cancellation for Comal Appraisal District. The Comal Appraisal District hereby cancels the election scheduled to be held on November 3rd, 2026 in accordance with section 2.053A of the Texas Election Code. The following candidates have been certified as unopposed and are hereby elected as follows. Rob Johnson, at-large member, place 1. Craig O'Neill, at-large member, place 2. Garrison Green Mauer, at-large member, place 3. And copy of this order will be posted on election day at each polling place that will have been used in the election. So if there's no objection, I'll entertain a motion to approve the order of cancellation for the Comal Appraisal District election.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Mr. O'Neill, I have a second. Mr. Alvarez, any discussion? All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Jim Blue.
Mr. Slepik, if you don't mind signing that, once Mr. Johnson gets back from vacation, I'll get him to do it.
Okay. All right, moving on. Item 13, discussion of possible action, approve the Eagle View pictometry contract.
Yes, sir. So in your packet, you have the full contract. It is a 6-year contract. If you flip to page 10, it shows you our due dates, and we pay $172,000 and change a year. We've used this for many years. This provides the district change finder, which images properties from one year to the next to recognize if we're missing properties. And it also gives us our aerial pictometry, and it gives it at a great resolution where we're able to see things. So I would recommend approval. And we did budget for it, so.
Any questions from the board on this particular?
Just curious, does it notify you, hey, there's a new building sitting here that wasn't here last year?
Change finder does, it compares back and forth. Actually, it's so advanced, we can switch it and you can just see the side of the house, not just the top of the house.
Oh.
Yeah, it's really advanced.
Big Brother is alive and well.
Are there other vendors that you guys looked at before that do this?
There are, what do we used to use? Esri for our pictometry, right?
We used a state contract where Google would actually
Yeah.
just kind of provide imagery, but it was really inconsistent, not very good quality, and since then the state's actually done away with a lot of the free sourcing that to different entities. When we originally did these contracts with Eagle View, we looked at Nearmap, which is one of their competitors, and at that time, we had decided to go with Eagle View. We've had a very good experience with them and all the sports side of it and the quality of products.
And we might pay a little bit more than we need to pay, but it's not just, remember, it's not just the pictometry, it's not just the aerial. It's that change finder where we can see what has changed from one year to the next on each property and make those updates and add or remove improvements as found, so.
What was the what was the length of the last contract, the term?
It was 6 years.
It was 6 years,
Yeah.
so y'all used it for 6 years. Like, has anything materially changed in their contract other than probably price, because I'm sure it's more expensive?
No, sir.
And actually, the pricing is really competitive with what it originally was. My understanding is that as technology is actually getting better, this is one of the industries it's actually getting easier for them to provide us imagery. Because the cameras are getting better, so they can fly at higher heights rather than, which takes less time because you've got more coverage with less airtime. So my understanding, and I'm sorry, I don't have the original price of.
I don't need it.
Contract, but
That's fine.
it's very comparable to what it was in the last 6-year contract with better product.
And they do fly all of Comal County once every October.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And I guess y'all haven't had any issue with them over the last 6 years in the course of dealing or?
No, not at all.
Nothing that be red flags or?
No, sir.
Fantastic.
Now, is this the same one the county uses?
So the county actually gets their imagery from us.
So
Yeah.
you prefer
They-
that, so that GPS thing that the county's got, or you,
When you go to the county engineer's website and look at their maps, those are our maps.
So the county, the city of New Braunfels, they all, once we get these flown, they come and get a hard drive with the imagery data, and then they bring it into their system.
and I suppose they kick in their share.
They do in our contributions.
No, I was just gonna say, in a way they do, because we budget this, it's in the budget,
Yeah.
and they have to
Right.
pay the budget, so I suppose in a way. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe we should ask them to kick in, but really they are.
One way or another, they're paying for it.
You know.
Yeah.
Don't they, isn't there like don't they help us on technology or something like that?
Comal County does.
They do a lot to help us. And that is, you didn't ask this, but that is written into our deal that we can share that with our entities, that imagery, but we were unable to provide that imagery to the general public.
Oh, okay.
I mean, they can view it, but we can't actually give them the raw data to actually use them.
Oh,
Right,
Yeah,
but we have permission from the vendor to
Yes.
share with the taxing entities.
That's
of
yeah.
those. Okay.
all right, in that case, if there aren't any other questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve or disapprove renewing the 6-year contract with Eagle View Pictometry.
Chairman, I would move to approve moving the 6-year contract.
Motion by Mr. Brown, second by Mr. Alvarez.
Sure, I'll say.
Put you on the spot, didn't he?
All right, any discussion? All in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion passes. All right, subject, agenda item number 14, discussion of possible action, approve our resolution, the 2027-2028 reappraisal plan. We've heard that at the beginning, obviously. And I have a motion to approve or disapprove.
I'll make a motion to approve the reappraisal.
Okay. Motion by Mr. O'Neill, I have a second.
Second.
Mr. Brown, any discussion? Anybody want to talk about anything we heard? In that case, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now we're gonna have to Yeah, everybody's gonna have to, that's here is gonna have to sign it, we'll have to get the others. So I'll start with it this way. All right, item number 15 is to move into closed executive session, so it is, hang on here a minute. The board of directors on August 26, 2026, beginning at 6:45 PM. Convene an executive session in accordance with chapter 551 of the Open Meetings Act.